Hey, this is Edward today. Another video on buying businesses, and I wanted to talk today about a few topics. So, I want to talk about deal flow, local deal flow. If you're a buyer, you're looking to buy businesses locally. Let's say you're in Austin, Texas, and you want to buy businesses in Austin, Texas. We just recently looked at deals in that area. Or let's say you're in a different area, you want to understand the local market and you want to approach the market in a bit more a different way rather than just reaching out to everybody. So in previous videos, I talked about building a list of businesses, reaching out to all of them all across the nation and seeing who's a fit and essentially finding a motivated seller to sell to you. Now, what if you want to just be in a local area and let's say you only have 100 to 200 targeted people you can reach out to, and that's it. There's not tens of thousands of people you can reach out to all across the nation. Well, if you have a lower volume, uh, here's an approach that I'm going to share that could potentially work for a lower volume situation. I've actually had a conversation with somebody today on LinkedIn, which is a buyer, and I wanted to share this because I think this might be useful for people that are doing more targeted stuff. I've realized that right now that this could be helpful for other people. So if you're looking at a lot less contacts and a lot less people to engage with, which means your criteria is narrower, well, what that means to you is you're going to need to become a lot more personalized and give a lot more attention to the people that you're getting in front of, and you're going to need to be a lot more creative as far as how you're messaging them and how you're approaching them to get a reply to them if they're looking to sell. Now, the most direct path to getting engagement of somebody overall is always going to be direct face-to-face conversations. So it's always going to come down to that. If you want to get the highest engagement possible, that's what you would do. Is you would go and walk in of a business and see if they're looking to sell. But you would, of course, you do it in a creative way. You would bypass the receptionists, the management, and whatever you need to bypass to be able to get to those people to talk about that topic. Now, the second fastest way to doing that is for a direct um, letter to the company about the topic and directly associated to the owner, and then through a follow up with a few more letters, and then a follow up through direct phone calls, and again bypassing the receptionists, bypassing the some of the managers, some of the management to get to the owner or the shareholders of a company to talk about selling the business. So that would be the second fastest way. Now, ideally, if you have in between 200 to 500 contacts, you would potentially start with letters, phone calls, and then walk-ins after that, after you see some sort of engagement, some sort of reaction towards you. If you don't see any reaction at all, you would just do the walk-in later, and you would schedule in weekly walk-ins to some of these businesses. So you drive around some of these locations, and you would just do a walk-in in the company and see if you can talk to them. That's probably going to increase your conversion as high as you can. It's going to be a lot of time invested of a process, but you're probably going to be able to get more replies out of everybody that you're engaging with. Plus, that probably is going to yield into a better relationship locally, and the community is going to get to know you because what's interesting is even if you talk to 25 business owners out of this, a lot of these business owners know accountants, lawyers, lenders, other communities, and so forth. And they could potentially be a gateway path to somebody else, right? So you would form fairly tight partnerships from this activity, even if you're going to be doing this in the next 2 to 3 months. So if you want to be super localized and hyper targeted, that's what I would do if you were a buyer and you want to generate as much off-market opportunity as possible for yourself. Now, there's also localized events that you could attend to with business owners, and that would also create this whole process as walk-ins. So before you'd go to an event, you'd look at what kind of industries, what kind of businesses, and then you'd formalize that, and then you'd create a list, and then you'd approach some of these people. We've done that in the past as well. So that's kind of another path to use to gain the attention of all these individuals. And another topic I wanted to talk today about is looking at deals and being in proximity with other buyers in your market or other markets. So sometimes when you have your own buy box of a particular criteria of deals you want to look into, by you seeing a different deal in a different industry, sometimes you get to resonate with something else, a different industry or a different deal type, and you sort of like get very interested in something else over time. So let's say you wanted to start with assisting living businesses, but then you actually saw a manufacturing company, and let's say you're an engineer and you relate to technical things and you might just resonate with manufacturing as well. So be flexible once you have a criteria because sometimes you can find a deal within an ecosystem in a space that you really find interesting and the investment thesis is also strong and you can go and look into it and you can go and pursue it. And it might be a better even deal than the deals you're looking at today. And to give you an example, used to have a client Bill that was a wholesale guy that was looking in a different space initially, and then he transitioned to medical equipment and he found a medical equipment deal through one of his partners. So that's how he quickly transitioned from whatever he was doing initially to that deal because that deal had better economics. The seller was motivated, and he just saw how he could close the deal a lot quicker. So that's another topic that I wanted to discuss. Always be flexible and open as far as what you see currently on your market, what you see close to you, because you might change your mind and you might gain a lot of interest in something else along the way, along the path of you being on this journey. Um, And then the third thing I wanted to talk is about the proximity with other buyers. So what's interesting is sometimes by you knowing people or by you engaging with people that have done a lot of deals in your market or are currently in the trenches doing a lot of deals right now and that solved a lot of the issues, um, you're going to be able to gain very granular insights into how to solve specific things very quickly without you wasting months. So, for example, I could potentially connect it to a guy that done med spas and understands some of the issues with the med spas and how you can acquire them and all this stuff. I could connect it to a guy who's done roofing deals and essentially understood how to overcome different issues. I could connect it to a guy who done pest control deals and he's already done deals. He's already looked at all the issues that could happen and due diligence and so forth. And it's easier for you to get connected to different individuals, different buyers to see what different issues happened across your deals to be able to gain a lot of insights and experience. That's probably the fastest way for you to learn if you're a buyer in this space is to get connected to fellow people in your community or network that are way ahead of the game and can just support you and answer your questions. So that's another topic that I think that a lot of buyers are kind of sleeping on this because they're not using it. So hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if I missed anything, and hopefully you have a nice day. Thanks.